Thanks for tuning in. I'm Chris, and that's Murph, and we're going head-to-head, making picks so you can cash slip. So grab a drink, enjoy the show, because this is the smartest idiot you know. Hello. Welcome back. Thanks for tuning in. My name is Chris, and that's Murph. Say hi.
Hello, everybody.
And we are the smartest idiot you know. And we're here. We're going to talk about some games that are going to be happening on Sunday. We're going to give you our thoughts on a few of those. Hopefully they pan out for us. Hopefully they pan out for you. And we got a good slate. Unlike Thursday. Thursday was a horrible game. I'm just going to throw it out there. I don't really want to talk much about it, to be honest with you, not because I was wrong, not because you were wrong, not because most of the people in America were wrong, but just because I just didn't like the game. I didn't like the game. I mean, I guess if I was a Niners fan, I'd probably like it because the Niners came out, they played good. But the Rams, they just played bad. That's all there is to it. I think McVay said it himself. I mean, I made a bad call. Might be. Sorry, guys. When your coach says that, it's pretty demoralizing. But hopefully they right the ship. Maybe later on in the year, I can actually make a bet on them, or I can actually pick them and have faith in them. But after last night, not last night's, but Thursday night's showing, I was not impressed. What about you, Murph?
Yeah, tough game to watch. You know, as soon as we thought the Rams would crawl back into it, take the lead, pull away from the Niners, uncharacteristic mistakes. 2 fumbles, one in the red zone, one on the goal line that was going to be a touchdown if Kyron hangs on. They had the block extra point. They had a shanked field goal. You know, McVay blundered that call there in overtime. Yeah, just a bad game. You know, hats off to Purdy, though. Played his guts out. So hats off to him, but just a terrible game as far as the betting goes.
Yeah. Why don't you lead us into the first game? What do we got on slate?
So I want to jump into the Dallas at Jets game. We got Dallas minus 2.5. You know, and we talked a little bit about Dallas and that Green Bay game, that ending in a 40-40 tie. I guess there's a moral victory there for the Cowboys. That seems about all they're good for nowadays is getting that moral victory. You had said it. You know, they play down to their competition. But Jets are 0-4. They looked real bad against the Dolphins, who were also winless in that game. Dolphins were penalized 13 times for over 100 yards and had 3 turnovers. Dak's playing like an MVP. And I think these are just going to be 2 bad defenses. And the Jets don't have the weapons to keep up in a track meet. I like Dallas minus 2.5.
Yeah, I'm with you on Dallas. I'm going to take Dallas at 2.5 as well. Some of the same points that you said, I'm probably going to agree with. But I don't really like backing Dallas in a lot of games. But I mean, they're playing the Jets. The Jets could come out and surprise us, and that's the problem with picking the Dallas Cowboys. Is when they are playing a good opponent, you tend to have a good game. They may not win. I mean, they've played 2 really good opponents, and they lost one and they tied the other. But Dak has really performed in those games, both of those. And so the Jets could come out of here and, you know, they could get some momentum and they could pull away. This is a small spread, but I like the Cowboys here. I'm going to stick with the Cowboys, and hopefully I'm not wrong with that. And you'll see with a lot of picks here that I make, I'm rolling the dice with. I'm not going to be the most confident with some of these. It's just more rolling the dice of how I kind of feel with it. And hopefully it pans out. I think some of them are going to differ with you this week, and we'll see what happens, which leads us into the next game, which is going to be Denver and Philly. This is a hard one to kind of pick, and it's one that I'm kind of looking forward to watching. I don't want this to be a blowout, and it very well could be. but I'm hoping the defenses come into play, and I hopefully my team comes out on top, which is going to be Denver. Denver is going to be +4. Philly is -4. And I just think both of these teams, Denver has the, I'm not going to say the advantage, but they have a really really good spot on all aspects of the field today, for tomorrow. They have defense, they have the coach, they have the receivers. The big question mark is going to be the quarterback. Bo Nix has not really performed in really good games, and this is going to be a good test for him because the Philadelphia is a really, really, really good test to see how good this offense can be. And hopefully the defense can shut them out. Let's see if they can stop the tush push. What do you think?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. And, you know, I'm with you that I think Denver has the better coach. I think they're playing, it's crazy because Philly's undefeated, but I'm not in love with that record there. I don't Their offense is really struggling. They're 30th in the league, and Jalen Hurts is dead last in passing. So we're still kind of waiting to see them get going offensively. Um, my hesitation on this game is that it's in Philly. Denver hasn't won on the road since last November. They're 0-2 this year on the road, and Philly's 8-2 against the spread in their last 10. But I think I'm going to go with you. I think Denver sneaks out of here in a close game. I think I like Denver at +4. It's going to be tight, but I'm going to go with Denver at +4.
Awesome. Hopefully we both hit on that one because I think we're both kind of going out on a limb here. I think we instinctively we kind of feel Philly. Philly might do it, but we're taking a risk on Denver. Maybe Denver can just shut that down for once. The next game we're going to talk about is going to be Houston and Baltimore. Um, this game is one that isn't really to be desired unless you really just want to see the Texans defense. And if that's the case, which I would tune in just to see the Texans defense play football, if that's the case, then tune in and watch this game because Baltimore's got Cooper Rush coming up to the plate. And I really don't have any expectation of Baltimore in this game. I think the line is 1, and that's because Houston's offense isn't that great either. But I really don't care what Houston does in offense this game. It's all going to be about the Texans defense against Baltimore's offense without Lamar Jackson. I mean, Lamar Jackson is such a huge piece in that game that has made this line 1 with Cooper Rush going in. With all the talent that they have on defense and the talent they have in the running back and the wide receivers and even the tight end spot, they're still only managing it to be a 1-point game here. Give me the Texans defense. I'm going to take Houston at -1, and let's see what happens and with that defense.
Yeah, I think this is a pretty straightforward pick. Cooper Rush is coming in, playing against a team in Houston that's allowing under 13 points per game, which is best in the NFL. Baltimore's kind of turning into that San Francisco situation where we're starting to see the injuries really pile up there. Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Patrick Ricard, Marlon Humphrey, Ronnie Stanley. The list goes on and on. So I like Houston here at -1. I'd even like it probably at 3. But I think this is a pretty straightforward pick. No need to spend a lot of time on this one. Let's jump into Tampa Bay at Seattle.
That's a good one.
Yeah, this is going to be a good game. It's going to be an interesting game to watch. It's in Seattle again, that vaunted 12th man there. But Seattle, shockingly, 2-7 in their last 9 home games. And I think Tampa Bay, they played well against Philly. They held Philly to under 200 yards of total offense. If Tampa Bay doesn't have the 2 turnovers and a block punt, which went for a touchdown. I think they beat Philly. So I'm going to take Tampa Bay here, getting the 4 points. And I actually think Tampa Bay wins outright. What do you like, Chris?
I like Tampa Bay as well. And I just want to say, stop picking my picks, please, because no, I think Tampa Bay wins here. Similar reasons as to you, except for Seattle. Seattle's got a good defense, and so does Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is kind of riddled with some injuries. I'm not sure what they're going to do in the running game since Bucky is going to be out. But I think Baker is going to be able to do one of those little fourth quarter things that he always does if they don't have a lead in the first half. He's going to come back and he's going to win the game. That's what you like about Baker. That's why you can have faith in Baker. And Sam Darnold, he is most likely going to play decently until he starts giving those turnovers. But even then, I don't think it's going to be enough against Tampa Bay here. Seattle does tend to struggle with really good teams. Actually, Seattle struggles with really good teams. And I'm going to take +4 here. If it was a smaller spread, maybe I would go Seattle, but I like the 4 points here. So I'm going to stick with them. And hopefully here's a game that we don't agree on. This game is probably going to be one that you may not want to watch unless you're a Jackson Dart fan. It's going to be the Giants versus the Saints. And outside of the rookie playing and Cam Scatterboo, there's really not much to watch in this game. And I mean, the Saints, they put up a good showing against the Buffalo Bills last week, but I got zero faith in Kellen Moore. I got zero faith in the Saints team. Until they figure out that quarterback situation, everything else is pretty much a dumpster fire. And but I do like the direction the Giants are going. Yeah, they lost Neighbors for the year, but they still have a lot of weapons on their side, and I feel like they can inch out a lot of wins this year. So I'm going to go with the Giants here. They are going to be +2.5, and hopefully they win by a field goal.
Yeah, this is going to be a snooze fest. I might catch a nap during this game, but I think New Orleans showed us something last week against Buffalo. I know the final score was 31-19. They covered, the Saints covered that large spread there. I think it was 15.5 or 16.5. They covered, but late in the fourth quarter, it was a 21-19 game. New Orleans was only down 2 points. So I think that score, is a little closer than it actually shows there. And shocking, I'm going to go New Orleans here. The line's only 2.5. I think Vegas seems to like New Orleans here, and I'm going to roll with Vegas here. I think they win by a field goal.
Yeah, we finally disagree on a pick. That's going to lead us going into our last game that we're going to do a deep dive into, and that's going to be Kansas City at Jacksonville. I think this is going to be a good game. This is a game that you're probably not going to want to miss. This is going to be a Monday night game. It's going to be fitting for a Monday night game. I remember when these two made it into the playoffs. It wasn't last year. I think it was the year before that. And that was a good game. I think it was Jacksonville ended up not making it out because of a pick, an interception, a late interception, I believe. But this year so far, I'm not really on the Jacksonville train. I want to be, but I'm not just yet. I think they have more to prove that they need to prove in order for us to back them. But Kansas City is always a team that you can back. And the reason why you can back them even more is because this spread is only 3.5. And I might buy it down to 3. But Kansas City is always making these close games, no matter who they're playing. Last week was abnormal for them. That's what the Chiefs used to do a couple years ago. But ever since like the last couple years, they've been just skating by. They keep it close. They win by 3 here. They win by 1. They win by 2. They send their kicker out for the winning field goal. And that could happen in this game because it's against Jacksonville. But, it's time to start backing the Chiefs, especially when you get these small spreads like this. So I'm going to take the Chiefs -3. They're 3.5, but I'm going to buy it down to 3. If it pushes, it pushes. Hopefully they win by more than that, but I'm taking the Chiefs on Monday night.
Yeah, I've got this game circled to watch for sure. This is a must see. I feel like the Chiefs are back. They're healthy, and I think all hell's going to break loose when they get Rice back. I think this offense is going to be very exciting. We touched a little bit on Jacksonville's defense. They do lead the league in turnovers. But let's also mention that they've beaten Carolina, the Bengals, who didn't have Joe Burrow for 2 quarters, and a banged up Niners team. Their loss was to Houston, and Houston, we know, has one of the worst offenses in the league. I love what ETN's doing. I love what that O line's doing. But Lawrence is still struggling. He's bottom 5 in completion percentage and yards per pass. I think that catches up to them against Kansas City on Monday night, and I like Kansas City to cover the 3.5. And I know you talked about you might buy it down. I think they cover 3.5 pretty easily. I think they win by a touchdown or more.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I think, I think that's going to be a good game to watch. If you're doing a football tailgating party or a hosting party, that's one to do that with. The only other game I think in this slate that you might gather around and have a party for is probably going to be Tampa Bay and Seattle. But a lot of games on here. This slate is just you could tune in, you could not tune in. The only other game I think that is interesting that we didn't really cover, it might be New England at Buffalo. That might be a good game, a decent game. But yeah, the rest, it's just not. Yeah, put it on Red Zone and have your favorite drink and just watch all the touchdowns. That's really all that I can say for this slate. But I think after covering those games, I think those are the 6 games I believe that we kind of isolated to do a deep dive in. But there's a whole slate. So Murph, if you want to go through real quick and say what all your picks were for this slate, we'll go through that, and then I'll do mine after you go through your list.
Yeah, Chris, I'm with you though. This is going to be a tough weekend for betting. Last weekend I went 11-5. This weekend could be a whole different story. There's a lot of injuries around the league, a lot of close spreads, a lot of average, mediocre matchups. So it's going to be a tough game. But yeah, let's run through them real quick. Recap on all the matchups. I've got Cleveland to cover against the Vikings. I like the Texans against the Ravens. I've got Miami covering against the Panthers. That's going to be a snooze fest as well. I've got the Colts covering against the Raiders. I like the Saints at home. I like the Cowboys on the road. I'm going to take Denver, which I don't. That's one of those games that it's a toss up. But I'm going to go Denver there for the 4 points. I like Arizona to cover against the Titans. Tampa Bay covers against Seattle. The Lions cover what seems to be a dumpster fire there in Cincinnati. I like Washington to cover against the Chargers. I'm taking Buffalo at home. And again, I like the Chiefs against the Jags.
All good picks, and I've got a lot of the same as you. Minnesota at Cleveland, it's a 3.5 point game there. I've got Cleveland at plus 3.5. That's going to be a defensive game. Hopefully Cleveland shows out and they'll be able to pull within 3. I just have no faith in Carson Wentz. We have no idea what to expect from Dylan Gabriel, but that defense, Cleveland's defense, is no joke. So they held the Packers within 3. So I hopefully they can be within 3 here. I got Indy over Las Vegas. I got Indy over that for 7. If the spread is 7, I think they're going to win by more than 7. The Raiders' defense is horrible, and Indianapolis has everything going on right now. We talked about Denver and Philly. I've got Denver at plus 4. Houston and Baltimore, I got Houston -1. Dallas Jets, I got Dallas -2.5. We got the Giants and the Saints. I got Giants at plus 2.5. The Miami-Carolina game, I don't even know who is going to be watching that. But I got Carolina. I know you had Miami, but I got Carolina at +1. Miami is just, they're in shambles. Carolina's not in shambles, but they play like they are sometimes, but they're not in shambles. They're a little bit more put together, but maybe they get one here. So I got them at +1. Tampa Bay and Seattle, I got Tampa Bay at +4. Tennessee and Arizona, there's not a worse team than Tennessee right now. Tennessee is really, really bad. And even with some big spreads, you get tempted to kind of take them. But until they prove themselves, you really can't. And Arizona is a wild card. They can show up or not show up, but they tend to, after a loss and playing a bad team, they tend to show up and win by double digits. So I'm going to take Arizona at -7.5. Washington and the Chargers. I got Washington at my +3. New England at Buffalo. This could be a good game. This really could be a good game. I've got New England at +8. New England played really well last week. Buffalo has been letting it slip a little bit late in the games, and I think New England might be able to capitalize that. Drake May is playing out of his mind so far this year, and they actually have a decent coach on the sideline this year, and they have a complete team, and they're kind of playing all around. So I'm gonna take the points. I'm gonna roll the dice with New England there, and then of course we talked about Kansas City and Jacksonville. We both have those circled. I've got Kansas City. I've got them by 3. You can even say 3.5, but I would like to buy them down just a 0.5 point to 3. And that's what our slate looks like. Hopefully, you said 11-5. You could go less than 11-5. Hopefully, I beat you out this week. I'm sick of losing and these records to you. I think you've gone 11+ wins in 3 of the 4 weeks so far. And I think I've gotten close to 10, maybe. I think 9 is my best so far this week, and hopefully I top that and rolling the dice on some of these that are going to be flipped from yours. But yeah, it's a good slate. So get out there and watch some football, folks. But after that, I mean, that's what we got. That's our show today. So hopefully, as you're listening to this, it makes sense to you. You're able to make some good decisions. You're able to enjoy some football. And join us next week for the recap. Everyone, this is the smartest idiot you know. Thanks for joining in. Have a great weekend. Watch some football.